I'm making a Fireplace string turned chicken here, and I'm starting with a bunch of ground black pepper all over it. And then I've got freshly ground, about a tablespoon of freshly ground ginger that I'm going to rub into all of the surfaces. And I also have about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Also going to be rubbed all over the chicken, and about a tablespoon of homemade red wine vinegar. And all this stuff will be rubbed over all the surfaces of the chicken. And then some fresh sprigs of tarragon will also be rubbed on the chicken and pushed into all the surfaces. I also like to push some of the ingredients underneath the skin of the breast so that it's up against the meat itself, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And then we're going to let that sit and marinate covered with plastic wrap for about an hour or so. So the fire is going, and this has been marinating about an hour. I like to put some nice gourmet thick sliced bacon under the skin of each breast to add some flavor and keep it nice and moist and juicy as it cooks in the fireplace. So now I'm going to truss it up with a string. I'm just using some kitchen twine and a trussing needle. I'm going through the back near the tail, and then I'm going to pull a good length of string around through that, and I'm going to loop that to the heel just of the leg there, and then I'm going to bring it around, loop it around to secure to the wings a couple of times, around the front, and then around the other wing, and then around to the other side where it's going to be wrapped around the heel of the last leg. And we'll go back through the back, and those two ends will pull up tight and then tie them to each other. And that way your chicken will hang nicely. So now my chicken is wrapped up with twine and trussed, and I left a long extra tail of twine to hang it from. And I've got a drip pan that is any heat-proof pan that I can put next to the fire. The fire's been going for over an hour now, and it has a nice core of hot embers at the base. You want to wait until you have those embers so that your fire is giving off enough heat. If it's not giving off enough heat, then it won't cook your chicken. You want to keep that fire going by adding logs behind the chicken once it's hung up. So you want to find somewhere above your fireplace that you can tie tightly, and I recommend making several lines of twine so that it's very tight and it won't slip. And then lock it down tightly with several knots so that it doesn't slip during cooking. If you have a mantle, a wood mantle, that would be a good place to anchor this. Just make sure that the screw you use is heavy duty enough to hold the weight of your roast. So I've strung up the chicken, and it is hanging now. I have it several inches off the ground so that it is centered in front of the heart of the fire where the most heat is. And you can see it'll spin on the string on its own, and we have the drip pan below it to catch the drippings. Every once in a while, if it slows down, just spin the string a little bit and it'll continue spinning for several minutes. Every once in a while I just use some tap water to wet the string that's exposed to the fire here to make sure that it doesn't catch fire. Once the chicken has some nice color to it, I start basting it with a mixture of olive oil and red wine vinegar with some salt and pepper added. It's really important to use good quality olive oil and vinegar Because dilute, tasteless vinegar and olive oil won't add anything to this, so you want something that has good flavor to it. Come back and baste it periodically as the surface dries out. After about an hour, I start temping this with a meat thermometer. And the best place to do that is either in the deep part of the breast or in the deep part of the thigh to check for doneness. By the way, this is almond wood that I'm cooking with, and I salted the chicken generously before I hung it up to cook. So after letting the chicken rest, after taking it out of the fireplace, it's now ready to be carved. First I have to take off the string. And then you carve it just like you would any normal roast chicken. And the bacon that's under the skin of the breast can be removed, or you can eat it as a special treat. Okay.
Cat wants some.
Bon appetit!